Well, we are here at home. We are currently living through troubled and very troubling times. Our young men and women, their lives are at risk in a unwise, incompetent, and illegal war. This is happening now. The Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act. And that has historically set back our hard-fought-for civil rights movement, a movement for which people marched, fought, and gave their lives. And this is happening now. There are immigrants being held in for-profit detention centers around the country and being deported without due process of law. This is un-American, and this is happening now. Our Justice Department has completely abdicated its independence, and it takes its marching orders directly from a corrupt White House. They prosecute our president's perceived enemies. Don't go to the beach and play with seashells. I'll get you in fucking trouble, man. They cover up for our president's misdeeds and they protect his powerful friends. This is happening now. The richest men in America abandoned the world's poorest children to death and disease through the dismantling of U.S. aid. This is no longer on the front page. But children are dying every day, and this is happening now. We have undermined NATO and the world order that's kept us safe and at global peace for 80 years. We threaten our good neighbors and allies, Canada and Denmark, whose sons and daughters have fought alongside us in American wars. We threaten them with the predatory annexation of their lands. This is happening. Our museums are being told to whitewash American history of any unpleasant or inconvenient facts, like the full history of the brutality of slavery. You want to talk about snowflakes? We have a president who can't handle the truth. This is happening now. So many American families struggle while our president and his family enrich themselves by billions of dollars trading on the people's office in corruption unmatched in American history. This is happening now. This White House is destroying the American idea and our reputation around the world. We stood as a beacon for hope and liberty, as an imperfect but strong defender of democracy, standing for the global good. And to many, now we are just America, the reckless, unpredictable, predatory, untrustworthy rogue nation. That is this administration and this president's legacy. And this is happening now. Honesty, honor, humility, character, truth, compassion, humanity, thoughtfulness, morality, true strength, and decency. Don't let anybody tell you that
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Network. This is Saturdays for Sanity. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginski and our special friend, special guest, Lawrence Winterman. We're so glad that everyone is here with us this morning. We're going to talk about lots of stuff. But first of all, before we get into that, this is the happy show. This is the show where we don't talk about stuff that makes us sad, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the following. On the Upper West Side yesterday evening, a drunk driver in a Mercedes, a 61-year-old man, plowed through a crowd of people in my neighborhood. 2 of them died instantly. 3 are in critical condition. These are men who never bothered anybody. They were fixtures in our community. They were outside playing chess and dominoes. That's what they did every day, especially on these days where it was really nice out, and we haven't really had a lot of nice days. And so we were really at the beginning of it, especially on a Friday evening. And this man plowed through our neighborhood and killed people. And I just want to say, because I didn't know them personally, just so people know, I did not know these people personally, but they were just people like you. I've lived up here for over a decade. Like you just know people, right? And I just want to say to people, I don't care who you are. I don't know. I don't care what you're doing or where you need to be. There is absolutely no excuse to drive drunk or under the influence. We have Uber, we have Lyft, we have ride shares galore. There is no reason whatsoever anyone needs to be getting in their car or behind the wheel when they have had anything to drink. Anything. I don't care if it's 1 glass of wine. Do not drive. Do not drive. So you can read about it. It's in the New York Times this morning. It's everywhere. It's a horrible story. So, and this was, of course, minutes before my husband came home from work. So I think the powers that be that he didn't happen to be walking down the street. So that being said, we're going to talk about Bruce Springsteen and about how he is the bravest artist in the United States of America right now, doing more for this country than anybody else in his industry. And that includes a lot of young people, or most young people. So, Julie, you went to the Springsteen concert this week.
That was actually my video that I recorded at the Springsteen concert at Madison Square Garden on Monday. And I want to just talk about that quickly. We don't need to belabor it. I wrote a whole Substack about it. And by the way, it's very interesting. That Substack went quite viral based on what I'm about to talk about. But then last night, I don't know who decided to self-appoint an army of people who decided to shame me for being old and not understanding youth culture. The point of my Substack was that Bruce Springsteen is the only person out there doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And don't come at me about how you've got Jesse Wells and all these other people.
Jesse Wells is great, but like...
Wells is great, but it's not selling out Madison Square Garden, friends. Like, you know who's selling out Madison Square Garden? Taylor Swift is selling out Madison Square Garden. And Taylor Swift isn't saying jack shit. Okay? Fish, which I love. I love the food, but also the band, Fish, Phish. They're doing a whole residency Madison Square Garden in the next couple of days or weeks or months. I would love to go, but they're not saying stuff like this. I'm talking about people who actually have the capacity to sell out the greatest, most famous arena in the world, or Wembley Stadium, or, you know, wherever you so happen to be, the
Coliseum.
Yeah, Coliseum, like wherever you happen to be, the Staples Center. And I just want to be very clear about something, and we don't need to belabor Bruce Springsteen. This concert was not a feel-good show. I have been to at least 25. I mean, I'm literally wearing my New Jersey lottery hat, baseball hat today, because I'm from New Jersey. I love New Jersey. I think we all joke about how much, you know, like, and this Michelle certainly can, you know, for years we've talked about how I love, like, I don't live in New Jersey anymore. I love New Jersey. I will always be a Jersey girl. Bruce Springsteen is the best of us. Mm-hmm. Not just because of that, but because apparently Chris Christie was also at the Springsteen.
Oh, yes.
He is a massive fan of Springsteen. He worships
Springsteen hates him.
And Springsteen in the middle of these shows goes into the audience, which is also pretty brave. Literally starts walking through the audience and shaking hands. You see Christie sticking out his hand, and Springsteen looks at him and just totally blew him off. Oh. But that's not the point. And there's video of that, and it's hilarious. And I know Chris Christie, and I'll tell you that puts a stake in Chris Christie's heart more than anything else, because
Well,
he worships the boss. But the point is not that. The point is that Bruce Springsteen had a very difficult show. Typically, when Bruce Springsteen does a show, he is, he plays all the stuff, right? And he'll do the deep dives and the deep cuts, but he'll do, whatever. Name Your Born to Run and 10th Avenue Freeze Out and all the stuff. And the point is, he did do this in the encore, but the actual show, which went on for almost 3 hours, 22 songs.
wow.
This is a 76-year-old man, were perfectly curated to shame the shit out of this country from start to finish. And I'll give you an example. It was almost like a Bruce Springsteen lifetime of shit that has happened in this country that he has sung about. So he started with the song War. He did not write War. Obviously, it is a great
Edwin Starr. Yeah.
It's a great old Vietnam era song. It's not his song, but that's what he started with, because guess what, friends? We're at war. Though we don't remember that we are, because most of us are not there fighting it. We are, in fact, at war at the moment, killing people for reasons that are kind of unclear to us.
Yep.
Then he sang Born in the USA. Born in the USA is a fucking song that's like Stairway to Heaven for me. If I never hear it one more time, I will be happy, because I grew up in the 80s, and like Lawrence, I think you'll agree with me, that song was everywhere. But the reason he did it was because Born in the USA is not like rah-rah United States jingoism, which is what Ronald Reagan tried to turn it into. It is about how this country has abandoned, or did abandon at the time that he wrote the song in the mid to early 80s, the Vietnam War veterans who came home, went to fight in a war that they didn't understand they were fighting, why they were there, and then came home and were completely abandoned, right? And if you listen to the lyrics of Born in the USA, you understand what a complete indictment it is of this country. And this went on for 22 minutes. He sang a song called 20 American Skin, 21 Shots. People may not remember that song. I remember it because I saw Springsteen back in 2000 at Madison Square Garden, right after Amadou Diallo, a African immigrant, was killed by the New York City Police Department after they pumped 41 shots of lead into his body. Yep. And Springsteen wrote a song, which Clarence Clemens, who was the saxophonist for the E Street Band, which now his son Jake is the saxophonist for, whenever he would do the song, he would hold up his hands as the black man in the band, about how you're not supposed to, you're supposed, like, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about a black parent telling their black son to be polite to the cops, no matter what, because if not, you could get shot just for being in your black skin. That is what that song is about. That song is 26 years old. He sang it again. He sang it to remind us that Donald Trump did not come from out of nowhere. He is the apotheosis of what this country has been about and what Bruce Springsteen has been singing about for decades. And one of the people I was with my husband, I was with two other people, the woman who very generously brought us to the show and gave us these tickets, because God knows you can afford these tickets on your own, said to me, about 3/4 of the way in, I've never been more embarrassed to be an American. And it was an indictment over and over and over and over and over again of this country, to explain to people that Donald Trump did not arise, like, he's not an anomaly, friends. And I don't want to belabor it. This is not, Saturdays for Sanity, blah, blah, blah. I'll get to the funny story in a minute. But I just want to talk about the fact that where are the younger, like, all these people, so, what are you, the youth critic culture now? Like, fuck you. You know why? Because I am sitting around waiting for the people that can sell out Madison Square Garden. The most powerful woman on earth right now is Taylor Swift. It's not Kate Middleton. It's not whoever. It is Taylor Swift. She has people who will, like, go to the barricades for her in a way that probably no one since the Beatles has. Where are you, Taylor? We know you agree with us. You've said stuff, but and it's not like people are like, well, so-and-so donates all her money to LGBTQ charities from her concert, and Sabrina, I think it was this, Sabrina Carpenter donates.
Oh yeah.
records.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Olivia Rodrigo too.
You guys, I'm so glad. It's a great cause. I love it. It's a great cause. But unless you're sitting there at your concerts day in, day out, shoving this down people's throat who worship you and believe in you, you're just a product. And the reason you're not doing that is because the record company, as Bruce Springsteen sang on Rosalita, just gave me a big advance. The record company doesn't want you to do that because you can't sell lipstick at Sephora if you do that, Lady Gaga, because Republicans buy lipstick too, or as Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Yep.
You know what? How much money do you need to have? And aren't you powerful enough to tell the record company to go fuck themselves?
Yeah, especially in the case of Taylor, right? Where she has an unbelievable amount of power with the record company, specifically because of the battle she's been through.
Of course.
Yeah.
We watched her in Miss Americana literally question her father and her business manager, challenge them and push back and say no. She wanted to speak out against Marsha Blackburn when she was running for re-election in Tennessee, and she did. And where has all that courage gone? I mean, girl, I know it's not because you're so busy planning your wedding, though invite me. Like, come on. Julie, I read your article, and the first thing that I thought was, it's because Springsteen is old enough and he had success in the industry in the old-fashioned way, right? Before he had a giant team of social media managers and investment managers and, Springsteen Incorporated. Like, Taylor Swift is a branded corporation at this point.
Yeah.
She, the person, may have an opinion, but I'm sure she's got a million people doing exactly what you just said, saying, oh no, don't speak out.
Oh, yeah.
It'll damage your take by 3% in the next quarter.
So what? So what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So what? I'm sorry. Will you not be able to afford the flowers at your wedding if you do this? Like seriously. So what? Is it because the Hunt family owns your husband's football team and they're big MAGA donors and they're pressuring him to pressure you? Like,
I'm sure.
I don't know. I hope not, because I think she's probably more dependent than to be pressured by her future husband. But like the reality is, she's not doing it.
Right.
She's not. She'll speak up once in a while, and she'll be like, vote. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. You do you, but I'm voting for Kamala Harris. You spent an entire 18 months, or however long she was, on tour during the 2024 election. You could have said something during that tour. You didn't need to devote your entire tour to it the way Springsteen obviously is.
Yep.
But you could have said something, Taylor, and you didn't.
Yep.
You didn't. Lady Gaga is a great example. Lady Gaga is a huge ally of the LGBT community. She is clearly somebody who's very progressive in the space. She was on tour, I believe, during the 2024 election. She could have said something. Now, I don't know if she did or she didn't. But, she didn't. Not to the extent that Springsteen's doing. And again, I'm not suggesting that, obviously Springsteen is so disturbed by this that what I just played, what I recorded there was a 5-minute version of what he said every 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a one-off. I just happened to have recorded this whole thing. But he started off with this. He was pissed off. And this is not a concert that I want to see again.
Yeah.
As opposed to other Springsteen shows where I would run to go see them again. I want everybody to see it. I hope he puts it on HBO or Netflix or somewhere where people.
I bet you he will. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
But I don't want to go again because it was really tough to watch.
Julie, go ahead, Michelle.
No,
sorry.
please, Lawrence, go. Yeah.
Well, and the bigger point of where is all the protest music, right? Like, we now have another war, another, endless war, apparently, that we don't know how we're going to get out of. The economy is literally crashing before our eyes. Trump's corruption is off the charts, insane in our faces every day. Where's anybody, any artist, any musician who is putting out a consistent body of work in this moment of time to push back against it, right? Where's the coalition of people?
And that's the thing, is that the artists like Jesse Wells but he is a young, independent artist that does not have the platform that people like, that have these established decades-long careers. And, you said that, Lawrence, Bruce Springsteen got successful in the old-fashioned way. And that's the A&R way. There used to be people from the artist and repertoire, like the people who would go out to clubs all over the country and recruit and find bands and find musicians. And like, I know people who used to do this
I know
Mhm.
somebody
for a living.
that for Atlantic Records, the first one.
Yeah. And like, right. And he was always going, he was dating one of my best friends for many years. And like, so there's a new artist in town or something. He'd be like, hey, do you want to go check these people out? And like, that's what it was. And that's how you earned your stripes. And, you know, it's a different world now. I mean, which I think is also great because you have artists. I think one of the first artists to go indie and was kind of like F you to the record labels was Amy Mann, who was from the, what's the band? Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Till Tuesday.
Till Tuesday, yes. And she was one of the first ones to go independent. And, you know, Justin Bieber is here by ways of YouTube. You know what I mean? So it's a new world and I think it's great. But it's still the people who are through the labels that have the biggest audiences and the
Yep.
biggest reach. And you know, I'm an elder millennial. I was born in the early 80s. I graduated into a world just a few years before the crash. My generation graduated into a world where there were no jobs. And I mean, thank God every day that I graduated when I did, because I was able to consolidate my loans with like a very low interest rate. If you graduated just a few years after me, you were paying insane interest rates. I mean, when somebody I was working with at a restaurant, she worked for NBC and also she was working at the restaurant. Like she was working in advertising at NBC all day long and then coming into work at night. She's like, oh my God. She was like, my student loans are $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
This was in 2009.
Yeah.
Well,
And so while I do empathize with the younger generation, I really do, because like things feel really bad right now and things are really bad. Things are really, really, really bad. But I'm sorry, but you have to like tell that to someone who was being drafted to go fight a war on the other side of the world.
for
Like,
reasons
and
I don't understand.
yeah, I mean, like go and tell people that, like young boys who were being drafted and sent to Vietnam and Cambodia, because those were not the Donald Trumps of the world that were getting sent over there. Those were working class young boys who did not have the means to either go to college or have
Right.
deferments or like other things like that. And that's why rich people got out of it. It was a working man's war. That's what it was.
Right. And the average age was 19,
yeah,
which I know
yes.
from a song from the 80s that really drove home the point that the average age of the young man who got drafted to Vietnam was 19 years old.
Yeah. My dad, like my dad got a draft card in both my parents graduated from high school in 1968. And the soundtrack, by the way, of their teen years and Vietnam was what my sister and I were raised on. And there's a reason why that music still has staying power,
Mhm.
because it speaks to the part of the country that still has never healed, that we've never been able to move past. So it doesn't matter how many, Wall Street surges or capitalism kind of taking over our minds and lives, like that wound has never healed. And that also goes back to the civil rights movement. That wound has never healed. I mean, look what's happening to Bruce Springsteen's point. Like the Voting Rights Act was gutted in the last couple of weeks. And so, I say to the young people, I empathize, and I'm sorry that the generations before you have not been able to fix this. However,
Yeah.
you cannot sit there and say that, oh, well, I'm nihilistic. I'm like, tell that again to the Black people in this country who were marching and dying for their right to vote. Tell that to the freedom riders who were going down to the South to fight for people's right to vote in this country. And they picked themselves up and they kept going. And it's not right. It's horrible. But it's just, do you want progress or do you not?
I'm listening to all this, Michelle, and I'm thinking the difference is, and Jeff Jarvis pointed this out so well, the reason that in the 60s people were creating this kind of music, and this is before my time, so people in the chat who were around then, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm paraphrasing Jeff Jarvis, who was around in the 60s. is that they actually had to fear going to war. Like they
Mhm.
actually had something to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
We're living with the consequences of Donald Trump's poor decisions with the economy, right?
Yep.
And that's, I'm not diminishing that, because there are people who are literally starving to death because they don't have
Yeah.
access to food anymore.
Mhm.
But most of us are not getting dragged off the street and sent to Alligator Alley or to Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey, where we could talk about that another day because that merits a whole
Yeah, it's
it's a horror. We're not the ones who are going to be on the ground in Iran if this idiot decides to actually, invade. Like, this doesn't affect us.
Right.
Doesn't affect us. Like, and it certainly doesn't affect Taylor Swift.
Yep.
And I know this is a Saturday show, so we'll get to why the show's called Who's the Boss in a minute. But I just wanted to talk about that briefly because, like, I don't care if you like Bruce Springsteen or you hate Bruce, but the Big Chill soundtrack is fantastic. Fantastic. I have a lot of issues with that movie, but it's a fantastic soundtrack. But I will also say that whether you like Springsteen or you don't like Springsteen, and look, he's not everybody's cup of tea, he had the guts to do what he did, not just at the age of 76, but guys, he's been talking about this for a very, very, very long time, going back to his very first album. And
Mm-hmm.
the song Blinded by the Light, which Manfred Mann made famous, but which Bruce Springsteen wrote, which was on his first album, because the record company
I
said,
didn't know that.
oh, yes.
I just learned something today.
You didn't know that
Yeah,
Springsteen
I didn't know that.
By the Light?
Mhm.
No.
Like
Oh,
blinded by the light, revved up like a
Blinded by
douche.
the- yeah.
As a child, I thought was revved up like a douche. Yes,
Oh,
keep going.
every child did.
Yeah, no, it's wrapped up like no, it's Blinded by the Light. It's actually about Springsteen becoming famous.
Oh, wow.
Wrote that song is because the record company said to him, I don't think we have any single, this record is too kind of depressing and obscure. We need a single. So he wrote Blinded by the Light, which if you listen to the lyrics of, is not particularly a happy song. Not the Manfred Mann version, but if you listen to Springsteen, Manfred Mann made it kind of very, like Broadway-ish. But the original Blinded by the Light, go take a listen when you're off. It's
I will.
Very, very, very different music.
I remember when I worked at a bar down in Gramercy Park, I was the karaoke host. And so
the Manfred Mann version is so good, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember somebody coming in, he was a regular, and he had just come from a Bruce Springsteen concert, and he was like complaining. And he was like, Bruce Springsteen is so artsy and like he's like all into it, whatever he wants to do. Like we show up to hear, Born to Run and whatever. And all he wants to do is play this 20-minute version of 57 channels and there's nothing on and like whatever. And I just, at the time I was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But now like thinking back, I was like, oh, he wanted to sing a 20-minute version of 57 channels and there's nothing on because he wanted to complain about capitalism and he wanted to complain about, you know what I mean? I was like, and then therein lies the artist in Bruce Springsteen that has always been there. And if people want to ignore it because it's not convenient to them, sorry, but this has always been who he's been.
Yeah, you want to hear a great Born to Run story? This is why politicians are morons, friends. I have a very good friend who was in the New Jersey State Legislature in the very early 90s. And he said that they decided they wanted to have a state song, like a lot of states have a state song. And so New Jersey, of course, was like, well, you got to go with Springsteen. Sorry, John Bon Jovi. Not his music, but John Bon Jovi, I have stories. Anyway, but so they decided to go with Springsteen. They're like, well, of course, Born to Run. And they're about to make Born to Run the state song in New Jersey until somebody actually listened to the lyrics.
Oh no.
Death trap, it's a suicide rap. We got to get out while we're young. Like
welcome to Jersey.
Yeah, like sprung from places on Highway 9. Highway 9, Route 9, New Jersey is a road that leads to part of the Jersey Shore. But it's, back then was not a great, strip clubs on the side of it and so on. So like the whole song is basically about how like you have to get out of your shitty little town and get the hell out of there. So they adopted it as the state song. They're like, maybe not.
Yeah. I feel like listening to the lyrics should be the first thing you do, but that's
Right.
just me.
And
That's
these
just
guys,
me.
I know all these legislators. They all go to Springsteen concerts, so they're like, "Yeah, sprung from cages on Highway 9," not really listening to the music, right? Not really listening to the words.
Yeah.
Anyway,
In fairness, it was the 90s and they couldn't just Google the lyrics, right?
True.
You're
True.
from-
They'd actually have to sit.
Lawrence, if
Um,
you're from New Jersey, the lyrics are like into your veins. You know it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care if it's Springsteen or don't. You just know it.
Yeah.
To Alex asking if the bar was Pete's Tavern, it was not. Although it was around the corner, it was the Watering Hole, which no longer is open. But I love Pete's Tavern, and I have a giant photo of Pete's Tavern that is framed and hanging in my kitchen, along with Barney Greengrass. So I love that place. It's great.
I love it. Okay, so Michelle knows the story, but Lawrence doesn't, because I called Michelle immediately upon this happening.
She was like, "You're never going to believe this. You're never going to believe who I just ran into." And I'm like,
Oh, I can't wait.
"What?"
So I was making lasagna for my family for dinner because I have not been cooking at all lately, and my poor husband has been eating takeout nonstop. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go make lasagna. But I had to be somewhere that night, so I was really in a rush. So I go to the store, I get everything for lasagna, start making it. I'm about to put all the shit together. And then I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any tomato stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to just go get Rayo's marinara sauce and just cut this short because I'm out of time. So I'm like, if you live in New York, for people who don't know what bodegas are, they're basically corner little markets that they're on every corner in New York. And if you know, you need something in a hurry, you don't.
Yeah, you need condoms, you need cat food, you need some tomato sauce. They got you.
Tomato sauce,
Yeah.
cigarettes, you need whatever they got.
Right.
You. Right. With a
Three
massive,
different kinds of milk.
yeah, with a massive markup, but they got you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I go to the bodega around the corner and I'm walking down the street, and all of a sudden I hear this person screaming at like 20,000 decibels behind me as I'm walking to this bodega going, I got 10 shows left. I have 10 shows. I only have 10 shows left. That's all I have to do. Just 10 shows, 10 shows, 10 shows. I've got 10 shows. And I'm like, who is this asshole? And why is he screaming? And I'm like, wait, I know that voice. I know that voice. I know who that voice is. Motherfucker. And it is, my friends, my neighbor, Tony Danza, walking down the street, screaming into his phone about how he's got 10 shows. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Why is this man haunting my existence? So yes, the Danza has reappeared in my life. Do you know the Danza story, Lawrence? Do you know how?
I don't.
Oh, you should tell it. You should tell it.
But I get the sense he's the bane of your existence.
Well, he is, because Tony Danza, you could read all about it in the New York Post. The New York Post covered this little.
I know. I'm grabbing it.
And everybody in the chat's like, Danza. Tony Danza is the bane of my existence, Lawrence, because we all watched Who's the Boss. We all wanted to be Alyssa Milano, or at least I did. Right. We all wanted, I had a wonderful dad, but we all wanted a dad like Tony. And we all wanted the blue van. And I, about 2-3 years ago, was walking out of my building with my sweet little Hagrid, my little black dog.
Yeah.
And he runs out because he's got a lot of puppy energy, even though he's not a puppy anymore. And this guy starts screaming at me going, get your fucking dog out of here. The fuck, starts cursing me out. And I lose my shit, because I typically don't lose my shit. But if you're going after my dog, there's no. And I start chasing this guy down the street. I'm like, fuck you, Tony Danza. Go fuck yourself, Tony Danza. You fucking asshole. Fuck you, Tony Danza. And Tony Danza, I haven't realized that he's been spotted by somebody who knows who he is. I starts running down the street, and I'm like, fuck you, Tony Danza. Go fuck. I lost my shit on Tony Danza. Lost my shit on Tony Danza. And this ended up in the New York Post on page 6.
Amazing.
On page 6, which I think Michelle might have dropped into the chat.
Yep, I've got it here in a second. Hold on.
Page 6 got about 80% of it right, not all of it. And Tony Danza had to do a lot of cleanup. Tony Danza had to hire PR to explain after this New York Post story how no, he doesn't hate dogs. This particular dog was very menacing. And that's why Tony, I'm like, menacing? This
I
little
mean, I've met Hagrid's like the nicest dog ever.
Hagrid is not menacing, friends. He is not menacing. And the worst part
Sweet
is,
boy.
so Tony Danza has been like haunting my existence. And then about, I would say 6 months ago, I'm at a restaurant. So the other thing Tony Danza always does, and if you watch the show, you know my whole thing with Tony Danza is Tony Danza stands outside a restaurant called
Manny's. Yeah.
in my
He
neighborhood.
loves it. He loves it.
In my neighborhood and sings. He like does like on the sidewalk. He does like standards, right? So every time I walk by Manny's, I'm like, fucking Tony Danza.
Well,
So
it's not like he's out there singing by himself a cappella. There's a band and like
it's a little, it's like a jazz. It's like
yeah. And he grabs the mic and
yeah, it's like
Right.
it's,
And
yeah.
he thinks he's like giving people a treat, right? Because they're
Right,
in the
yeah.
restaurant, and they're going to be like, "Oh my god, the
Well,
craziest thing!"
in fairness, I hate to say this, they're not bad. They're pretty good.
Well,
Okay.
he's also like, so just so people like, Tony Dance is a song and dance man. Like he can dance, he can tap dance, he can sing. Like he's like a kind of a theater guy. So anyways, I'll just say that in his defense.
Yeah. So I also happen to believe that Tony Danza, every character he ever plays, from Taxi to Who's the Boss to some other show that he did with Lori Loughlin that lasted 5 seconds, his character is named Tony in every show because Tony Danza is not smart enough to remember.
That
names.
makes sense, actually. It always seemed like he was just kind of playing himself, right?
So Tony Danza is outside of this guy place Manny's. So my husband and my son and I go to Manny's for an early dinner one day because Tony Danza's nowhere to be found. I was like, okay, it's safe to go in. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, Julie? And I'm like, oh my God, Victor. So this guy, Victor, was a huge producer at CNN back during CNN's like iteration. He was Paul Azan's producer like 20 years ago back when, like, think about how long ago this is. This is
Yeah, no, I remember Paul Azan.
really, yeah. And this guy Victor is like legendary in television. And I hadn't seen him in 20 years. And so, because he left when Paul Azan left. And I'm like, oh my God, Victor, it's so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is my husband, this is my son, whole introduction. I go, what are you doing here? Oh, I sing here every Sunday with Tony Danza. And I'm like,
Oh God.
I'm like, oh. He goes, why don't you come and have a drink with me and Tony?
Oh God. No.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I could potentially have a drink with Tony Danza and Victor on the one hand. On the other hand, am I really going to drink with somebody who went after my dog that way?
Right.
On the other hand, what if Tony Danza remembers as me as the crazy lady who chased him down the street saying, fuck you, Tony Danza to him. So I'm like, this is like, I don't know what to do. But yet I'm sitting at a back table and I'm kind of trapped. I can't really walk out of this restaurant without being spot. Like the whole thing was like, So my husband's like, you should go have a drink with them. I'm like, no. I was like a thief. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm like, Victor, I'm like, I'm really busy. I'm like, maybe next week. He's like, yeah, come next week, have a drink with me and Tony. I'm like, I'll be there. I have not set foot in this restaurant. I've not even crossed to that side of the street since that for fear that I'm going to get busted.
I just want people to see, and Lawrence, you especially. This is the page 6 headline. New York City tears into a-hole Tony Danza after rough. And if you're listening, rough spelled R-U-F-F. Sidewalk dog
good.
dispute.
That's good.
This article really does take a turn. So it never mentions Julie by name. It says Tony Danza, stop being an a-hole.
That's not what I said. I said, fuck you, Tony Danza. I did not say that. Yeah.
Thus spake an Upper West Side woman after getting into kerfuffle in the street with the Who's the Boss actor over her dog. According to page 6, Danza was spotted in the posh neighborhood earlier this week, pushing his way through anything and anyone in his path when he barked at a petite woman walking her dog. At least they said you were petite.
Petite. Like I'm a midget. Petite.
The source says, I mean, the over editorializing of this is chef's kiss. The source says that the 80s heartthrob stepped over a black lab and said to its owner, "Get your dog out of my way." But the pet parent did not back down and offered the immortal words, "Tony Danza, stop being an a-hole," which is not
that's not
what you said. Another source familiar with the situation claimed, quote, "There was no spat."
Oh, there was a spat. There was a
Yeah.
spat.
Tony saw a good-sized dog coming towards him, and he knows the dogs in NYC have the right of way, says the source. He moved over to let the dog pass, and the woman didn't pull back on the leash,
Oh
and the
my
dog continued to come towards him. He had to jump over the dog to get out of the
Oh
way.
my God. Blatantly false all
Yeah.
around. Okay, go ahead.
Danza is known in the neighborhood and previously made headlines for much friendlier reasons. Sure. In the videos from both 2021 and 2022, they're linked here. You can see that's Manny's Bistro, where he's singing outside. He can be saying Bobby Darin's Mac the Knife, blah, 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 blah. But then it says, this is not the first time Danza's drawn scorn for arguably prickly behavior. Back in April, a red carpet reporter accused him of being the rudest celebrity they'd ever interviewed. Apparently, he was being asked if he preferred pizza or hot dogs, and he told him to come up with better questions. But then there was a whole thing about that he was rude. Michael Bublé even piped up on the matter, tweeting to the reporter, "I think you're amazing. I'll have pizza with you. Let's not invite Tony." And then this is where this article takes a turn. It starts with Julie and her dog, but the last two lines is perhaps
Wow.
he's just grumpy over recent accusations made by Full House star John Stamos in his new book, If You Would Have Told Me. Stamos claims he caught his girlfriend, Terry Copley, in bed with Danza.
That is some amazing narrative knitting there. Like, props to whoever wrote this.
Like, what a journey we all went on with that page
We went
6.
on a journey for my little Hagrid, who, to be clear, everything
allowed.
Tony Danza accused Hagrid of doing, Hagrid is fully capable of doing because he's crazy and got a lot of energy. And had Tony Danza waited maybe half a second longer, Hagrid might have lunged at him to be friendly, but that did not happen. And so I'm glad that Tony Danza had to hire a PR to clean this up for him. But I'm telling you right now, as the crazy woman in the story, did not happen.
He's doing, and the 10 shows he was talking about, I did some digging. He's doing an off-Broadway show right now, and they extended the run, and I think it'll be out by the end of the month, I think. But funny enough, this is full circle here. The guy who is directing the show is someone I sort of went to school with at Syracuse. But then one of the understudies is a guy named F. Michael Haney, who used to be one of my fill-ins for when I hosted karaoke.
Speaking
And
of
he was like, right. And it's just
It's a
funny
circle of
because
life.
F. Michael and this other guy named Alex Brightman were both my fill-ins at my karaoke job. And both of them are on Broadway right now. Alex Brightman is starring in Schmigadoon. So, and here I am.
Amazing.
amazing. Well,
You know,
we
Julie,
know
somebody suggested in the chat that there's a show here. There's a TV show about the brawl between Julie Roginski and Tony Danza
Yes.
on the streets of New York.
you guys.
Every show is the two of you bumping into each other and just like getting into bigger and bigger beefs along the way. Although I think that concept has been done. So
This man like haunts my life. I go after some marinara sauce to the bodega around the corner, and all of a sudden I have to hear about him. Michelle, you don't have to Google that he's doing 10 shows on Broadway or wherever he is, because he told all of Columbus Avenue that he was doing this because I had to listen to it.
Every time I've ever seen him, and I don't like Julie and I live in the same like area, but not the same hood, you know?
Yeah.
But so when I'm down there, like getting my eyebrows done or whatever, I've seen him and he's always like, Sunday in New York. And he's like at the top of his lungs, always by himself.
Always by
singing,
himself. I don't think
always
he's
by himself.
Always by himself.
Or I see him at the bar at, was it Felice? Do you know about
Yes,
the place?
I see
Felice? I see him like eating spaghetti or something.
Oh,
Mhm.
Felice, really?
By himself, or maybe when it was Oxbow before. Anyways, whatever. But I've seen him there, and
Oh my goodness. Why
but
is
there's somewhere there is an existence. There is a picture that is 20 years old of me and Tony Danza and a few other people. I was doing, those like street guerrilla marketing things where people dressed up in costumes and they're like, here, take these free gifts or whatever. That's what I used to do when I was an actor, and it was like a couple $100 for the day. And remember, Tony Danza had a talk show.
Yes.
And so he was doing this thing in Union Square where he had Danica Patrick on that day. And so they were going to do a boxcar race in Union Square. And so we were part of Tony Danza and Danica Patrick's pit crew. And we were dressed up as pit crew people. And we were there as with the sponsor, GoDaddy. GoDaddy is here to drive your small business. And so there's a picture of me and like a bunch of other people with Tony Danza and like posing. And we handed out free USB drives that said GoDaddy on them.
Thomas, Tony Danza will never, ever be my show. Ever. Not
no, he'd sooner die.
Not listen, if he insulted me, we would get over it. If he insulted my family, we'd have something to say, but maybe we could work through it. You do not insult my little Hagrid.
Mm-mm.
No, you do not come back from that. However, I do want to crowdsource this.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be funny for me to go have a drink with Tony Danza and Victor should the opportunity arise again?
Oh my God, yes.
Selfie time. Because he might not even remember you.
Right.
Well, that's the question. What if
he's not going to? No way. He remembers the incident, but he won't remember your face. I really don't think so.
I think you're right, because he was like walking pretty fast as I was.
Right. He didn't turn around and look at you. Right. Like he didn't.
No. Yeah. I was like almost chasing after him.
It was just like a passerby.
Just be like, oh, I heard about that.
Oh yeah. Like, oh wow. That's really,
oh, tell me about it.
The funny thing is I was working at the time for a client on a very serious story. And I was dealing with the New York Times reporter on it. And this New York Times reporter is kind of like a very straight-laced person who and I'm on the phone with this reporter, and she says to me out of nowhere, she's like, did you read this crazy story in the New York Post about Tony Danza and this woman? And I said, I know you're not going to believe me because this sounds too coincidental. I said, I was that crazy woman. She's like, no, you weren't. I was like, I was. I'm like, somebody had to be, and it was me. And she was dying. She's like, this is all my husband and I talk about.
It's really funny.
I know.
It's really funny.
You can imagine if he's always alone, it's because he's bursting into song like that all the time. And who can stand it? Like, he doesn't have friends anymore at this point, right? They're all just like, oh, Tony, Jesus.
Like, I mean, having been there for as long as I was, like, I have seen and have been around many a person who bursts into song all day long. However, we're usually in packs. And it's insufferable. Like, it is an insufferable thing. And you really don't do that above 57th Street. Like, you have to do that in like the confines of
the Broadway theater district.
Hell's Kitchen. Like, you can't leave Hell's Kitchen and act like that. You know what I'm saying? They'll put you in the loony bin. So if you're somewhere between 43rd Street and 57th, you're okay. But on 71st, no.
Right.
We
Your life may be a musical in New York City.
Right. Sorry, Julie, what?
Somebody goes, postcards from the edge, the mother.
Yes.
Totally. Anyway, Lawrence, I can't believe you never heard the whole Tony Danza thing, but people who watch the show know that Tony Danza has long been the bane of my existence based on. I
now eagerly await the next Tony Danza incident, which, fingers crossed, is you having a glass of wine with Tony Danza and Victor.
The next Tony Danza incident could happen tomorrow because it's going to be a nice day out, and I'm positive he's going to be outside.
Because he lives
he's
in
got
your
a
building.
matinee though.
No, he doesn't live in my building. No.
Okay, I thought he did. He did.
He lives in my neighborhood. I know exactly where he lives, but not in my. I don't want to sound like a stalker. It's been reported.
Yeah.
No, he lives a few blocks from me, but he does not live in my building. No, if he lived in my building, that would be crazy.
That would be terrible.
We all know each other and in the building, so it's not like.
Over in the Substack chat, Joe 1867 says that's why my grandkids had to move to Brooklyn. Joe, because Tony Danza, or because the spontaneous song breakouts?
Tony Danza drove your children out of Manhattan all the way.
I mean, I want that story.
That's newsworthy.
That is newsworthy. What did Tony Danza do to your children that they had to move to Brooklyn? I mean,
he was just constantly breaking into song, and they couldn't take it.
So funny. You know what's funny is I was going through, because I was trying to figure out what music I wanted to put in the beginning after the Bruce Springsteen thing. And I was very tired last night. So I was like, please let this be easy. Because I was like, maybe I'll do the Who's the Boss theme.
Right.
And it's funny, out of all of the 80s/90s sitcoms, like, I don't remember that.
Oh, I
don't
do.
Either.
I don't like all
Really?
the other ones, Family Ties, Growing Pains, like
Oh,
all
we're
the
gonna
other
have
ones I remember, but
to
this
play
one
right
I
now.
was like, oh, I don't really remember it.
Brand new life around the bend. The blue van.
Yeah.
You don't remember the blue van leaving New York?
No.
Yeah, I do. But it just is kind of like I was like, oh, this is not a memorable
Oh, is that?
song.
You know what I was thinking about the other day is the dearth of good TV show theme songs, like Hacks, right?
Yeah,
Like I love Hacks.
Yes.
There's no theme
Nothing.
song. There's no
Nothing.
intro.
Which I feel so I'm so glad you brought this up, Lawrence, because I feel also strongly about this. And this is why I have openings for all of our shows, because I feel that this is something that we're in such a hurry
Mhm.
to to keep people's attention and smash things into small periods of time.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Now
I mean,
it all came flooding
but I
back.
don't know the words.
Yeah, I don't know the words either.
Take a chance and face the wind.
Yeah.
The road and the road, that's it. A
Okay.
brand new life around the bend.
Is it him singing?
There were times.
No.
A
No.
lost dream or two. All right, I'm gonna go really deep dive. Did anybody here watch the show Community?
I didn't.
not.
I knew it. I know about it, but
Right.
I didn't watch it.
People who watch the show Community, if you are in this chat, tell me, because Community, first of all, you should watch Community because it's a fantastic. It is the ultimate Gen X show. So if you are Lawrence is in my age, you must watch Community.
Okay.
All these throwbacks to like to this kind of stuff. But it's basically about this collection of people who are at a community college. And they're trying to get their degrees for various reasons at a community college. And community colleges are awesome because they bring different, obviously, people who are in their 40s. Chevy Chase is in it. He's a total asshole, but nevertheless, he's in that show.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino was in that show. It's really where Donald Glover, it's where he made his bones.
Mhm.
Joel McHale, like all these great people. Anyway, Danny Pudi, who is a wonderful actor and was I think really the breakout star of the show Community, plays a guy who is, I think they never say, but is obviously on the spectrum. And he's gets really obsessed with certain things. And one of the classes that he takes for one of these episodes is a semester-long course called about Who's the Boss, where they try to determine who the boss is. And he basically has this diagram of trying to figure out who the boss is. It is such a brilliant episode that you don't have to even watch the entire show to appreciate this show. And I believe he comes to the conclusion that the boss is Angela. I've always thought that Mona was the boss because she kind of really ran the whole show. And Catherine Hammond was a great actress. And
Catherine Hammond, I mean, do you remember when she was in Soap?
Of course, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. And Billy Crystal was the young gay guy in the show Soap.
Yeah.
Literally formative experience for me. Probably the first time I'd seen a gay person on TV.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, who played, not the first time.
Somebody who played a gay person on TV, right.
I'm pretty sure. So my son is gesturing to me. Why don't you take, yes, you can have a blanket.
Well, and somebody was asking in the chat something about Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is an asshole true to life? Yes, he is notoriously a very bad person. There is a really great book that was written about SNL. I think it's called Live from New York or something.
Yeah.
He's the one cast member who would not participate. He's the one cast member who doesn't come to anything because everybody hates him.
Wow.
There was a documentary that was made about him recently, and he was talking to the documentary filmmaker, who is a woman, and said to her, this isn't going to be easy for you. And she said, why is it not going to be easy? And he said, well, you're not bright enough. How's that?
Wow.
He got fired from Community for being racist too.
That's not terribly surprising. He said, well, you asked, I know you're not going to put that on the air, and I hope not. But my answer is I'm complex and I'm deep, and I can be hurt easily, and I react spontaneously to people who want to figure me out, as it were. As somebody who will hold up my guard, I'm not going to let anybody else figure me out. The amount of shit that straight white men get away with in this world is
For real.
quite astounding. That is a very Donald Trumpy, I'm just going to say whatever I want. Look at me. I'm just spontaneous. I just say it how it is. Like, no, you're an asshole.
Right.
And
You're an asshole.
he grew up in a very privileged house. Like his
Right.
family is like, I think, diplomats. But I think he went to Dalton, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
That tracks.
yeah, that's right. So he's yeah, I mean, not a good guy, and ultimately, as I said, got fired from Community because he was just a bad guy.
He's right and really awful to work with, and you know, one of those people. I can't imagine working with someone like that. I really just can't. Who's just hates women, hates Black people, super racist, and also just like an asshole. He probably gives other actors notes, which is like, don't do that. Can't do that.
You know who gave? I just read this whole thing because did I tell you how my Facebook algorithm has decided that I'm obsessed with Little House on the Prairie, and all I get in my Facebook algorithm is Little House on the Prairie. So
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Other people get politics. I get no politics. I get Little House on the Prairie. So of course, since it's in my algorithm, I go down the rabbit hole. Little House on the Prairie. Did you guys watch Little House?
Oh my God,
Yeah,
of
like
course.
like on it. I mean, it was in syndication. I would watch it when I was a kid. Yeah.
Michelle.
Michael Landon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Michelle. This whole show was my life. I would literally pray. I lived in the Bronx at the time. I would pray to God every night. This is not a joke. I would literally pray to God every night that Michael Landon would discover me, bring me to Hollywood, and put me in a Little House on the Prairie. Did I ever tell you my Missy Francis story about that?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so I got to Little House at the tail end because I got here in 1980 to the United States. So by the time I figured out English and whatever it was, like Little House was at its first or second to last or last season. But I was obsessed. The reruns, and I was on, I think, Monday nights at 8:00. I was so obsessed with Little House. Literally prayed with every strength, might that Michael Landon would take me away from the Bronx, from this like poverty that I was living in, put me in this little pinafore and put me in a Little House. So I turn on Little House, like I think the last season that it's on, and there is a new girl on Little House named Cassandra. They, because cousin Oliver and all the other kids, they had all grown up, so they had to bring in a cute little girl.
Right. Another cute little kid.
Yeah, for ratings. They always bring
ratings, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, Gilbert had got older, like they brought
like Olivia on the Cosby Show. They had to bring in another one.
Yes, like cousin Oliver and the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And they brought in Shannon Doherty at one point.
Oh, I do remember that.
The same story always happened. Like somebody's parents died in like a horrible wagon accident, and like the Ingalls family would end up adopting them.
A horrible wagon accident.
That's how Jason Bateman and Melissa Francis were the two kids that were introduced because they needed new young kids and they were adopted because their parents died. I'm not kidding, in a wagon accident with
That's a very Oregon Trail.
Right, where the wagon went off the cliff.
Right. They also had dysentery.
Right, dysentery.
Yeah.
Lose 5 days.
And yeah, so basically they bring in Jason Bateman and they bring in this little girl named Melissa Francis. And I am devastated because, as I mentioned, I would pray to God every night that I would be Melissa Francis and I would be the little girl. It would be Julia Roginski. It wouldn't be Melissa Francis who would be on Little House. And when I tell you, like, I took it personally, like I was really upset with my
Did you want to be an actor, or was it just you? Like this was your fantasy to be?
That's all I wanted to be. Because I don't know if I ever told you this. I used to have a great, before puberty hit, I used to have I still have perfect pitch, but I used to have a great singing voice. So I actually I wanted to be Annie on Broadway, and then Sarah Jessica Parker got that role instead.
Yeah.
I have a lot of animosity towards these people for getting jobs that were supposed to be mine.
Obviously.
For you.
I was angry at Michael Landon. I was angry at God. I was angry at this little Melissa Francis, Missy Francis, who got the gig instead of me. Very upset.
Did you stop watching?
Of course not. It's Little House. Flash forward 30 years later. I am working at Fox News, and Fox Business launches, and Fox Business and Fox News shared a lot of talent. So you'd have to, I hate the word talent, but shared a lot of people who are on air. So I had to do a lot of Fox Business shows. And who is the new anchor on Fox Business?
Oh no.
A girl named Melissa Francis.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh my God. My arch nemesis from 1981, Melissa Francis, is now working with me. She's no longer little Missy Francis. She's now Melissa Francis, and she's working with me on Fox Business. Melissa Francis and I become actually good friends, and I tell her the story. And I'm like, you have no idea my animosity, my hatred towards you. Like, you're dying. She says, well, then you should read my book that's about to come out that I wrote about those years. She gives me an advance copy of this book to read. It is harrowing. Not because of Little House, but what her mother did to her as a stage mom to get her in Little House.
Yeah.
Things like
That's not surprising.
Yeah, the ultimate stage mom. Horrible story. Melissa Francis ends up suing Fox News for gender discrimination. Congratulations, she won.
Another not shocking.
She's no longer there, and God bless. I haven't been in touch with her in many years. She's a great person. So I don't want to. This is not about Melissa Francis, who actually quite a bit. But that's my Little House story. The reason I say this is because I've been doing such a deep dive on Little House, thanks to Facebook, Michelle, that the person who was notorious in giving notes to people was Mrs. Olsen. And almost got fired for it.
Wow.
Because she would give notes to Michael Landon, and she would give notes to Mr. Olsen, and she would give notes to everybody. And Michael Landon was this close to firing her, but she was such an iconic character that she never did.
That kind of tracks.
Yeah. People who give other actors notes, there's a special place in hell for these people. This is not your
Michelle,
job.
that was pretty good, but could you do it with a little more pathos next time?
That was so good. That was so good. My friend Greg Reuter, R.I.P., is a friend of mine who passed away a number of years ago, but he'd been in like a bajillion Broadway shows and really, really, really funny. And very sadly passed away from alcoholism. But worked with everybody at his memorial service. Martin Short got up and sang, everybody was there. And if I ever meet Martin Short, I will hug him and thank him for that day.
He's also in the neighborhood all the time, Michelle.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
But he would say this about Richard Kind. Do you know Richard Kind?
See him on the street all the time.
Yeah, he's a West Sider. And he said, I remember Greg going, Richard Kind likes to give notes to everyone. I was like, actually, I see it. Who's like, because he's George Clooney's best friend. So
Richard Kind is George Clooney's best friend?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Richard Kind on the street maybe, I would say, a month ago. And he's
very funny. Yeah.
He was shuffling. He was
no.
Like
dragging his feet?
Like he did not. Yeah. He didn't.
Oh, I thought you meant like.
No. No. I mean, like he didn't look like he was, he not so great. But I didn't know that he include. I don't know if you know about this, Lawrence, about me and Michelle. Do not get us started on Clooney. We're so down on Clooney. We could not be more down on Clooney. We are.
That's a-okay. I do not have a soft spot in my heart for Clooney. You know what? I don't even think he's that hot.
He's not.
Right?
He's not.
Right. Everyone goes gaga for like Clooney's so hot, and I look at him and I'm like, is he though? Like I can't.
I will say though, if I ever went gay, it would be for his wife. I think she's stunning.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, she's stunning. Yeah, absolutely. I might be straight for her. For sure.
She's so smart and wonderful.
Right.
And she definitely he's the one. Yes. And it's funny is I did so much editing this week, so much. And I always have to have something on in the background. Just going all the time. And I turned on Ocean's 11. It was the first time I'd watched it in 20 years. I did post on my Substack about this. But I was watching it and out of the corner of my eye, because the beginning of the movie starts out in Atlantic City. And again, I haven't seen this in 20 years. I'm and he's on the payphone and behind him says Trump Plaza, giant letters. And I was like, this man ruins everything.
You guys, I had to
everywhere.
So if you work in politics, especially in this area, you will eventually end up at a conference in Atlantic City. And so I had to go to all of these conferences at least once or twice a year in Atlantic City. And for some reason, not for some reason, a lot of them took place at the Trump Plaza. I would stay at Trump Plaza.
Mm.
I would rather stay at the Motel 6
That's a dump.
on Highway 9, speaking of Route 9, then that place was, it finally got demolished. That place was
A dump. A
shithole.
dump.
A
I'm not
dump.
surprised. I'm not surprised. Somebody,
That-
and also
yeah, not
John
surprising.
Donahue said Clooney was on Roseanne early in its life. Yes, he was also on an episode of Golden Girls. Lawrence, did you watch Golden Girls?
I did, but I don't remember an episode with him on it.
He did an episode with Jerry Orbach, and they played undercover cops, and they were doing a stakeout for of the neighbors, like they were criminals or something. So they were doing the stakeout from the girl's house, and I think he gets like shot or something, but he ends up being okay. And he's very young, and it's just something I remember. I think I've seen every episode of Golden Girls maybe like
10,000 times.
100 times.
Yeah, I've definitely seen every episode. I haven't seen any of them recently, though. You know,
Always worth a rewatch, in my opinion. It holds up. Like the jokes hold up, everything. Yeah.
He was on Facts of Life. That's true. And you know who the cousin Oliver on Facts of Life was when they decided they had to bring in a new kid because the girls had all gotten too old and Tootie was not that cute anymore. Leonardo DiCaprio. That's where he got his start.
Oh, that's not surprising.
God, right.
No. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I take that back. He was on Growing Pains, not on Facts of Life. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, yes, he was.
Who was Facts of Life then?
There was somebody in Facts of Life. Well, they brought Clooney in, but he was not. He was the hot like Candyman or something. I don't remember. There was somebody. Yeah.
I just Mrs. Garrett's words of wisdom.
And then
girls, you're both pretty.
Yeah, Mrs. Garrett was great. And then when she left, they replaced her with Cloris Leachman.
Right.
Cloris Leachman, what a legend.
So I remember I was at that age when that happened where I didn't quite understand, like, why things like that were happening. I was very attached to the way that it was constructed and not so good with understanding, like, well, she's a human being and she probably had another opportunity, or she was tired or sick or whatever, no, I was very like the betrayal.
I think Mrs. Garrett was sick. I think that's why, because Mrs. Garrett had been on Different Strokes. Remember, she was the first housekeeper on Different Strokes.
Right. The reason I watched Facts of Life is because I loved her on Different Strokes.
Different Strokes and
rule the world. I think who wrote the theme song for Different Strokes? I think it might have been what's his name from Growing Pains.
Alan Thicke apparently wrote like every theme song, and I had no idea.
Oh my God, Alan Thicke, dad of what's his name?
Yeah. Hold on, Alan Thicke theme songs list, because they're Different Strokes, The Facts of Life, Wheel of Fortune, The Wizard of Odds, which was an Alex Trebek game show that apparently didn't do very well. And then a bunch of other stuff I don't know. The Joker's Wild, Animal Crack-Ups, Celebrity Sweepstakes, The Diamond Head Game, Blank Check, You.
Was the Joker's Wild No Whammies, Lawrence? Was that the one where like no whammies?
I think so.
Did he write the Growing Pains theme song?
Alan? I don't know. It doesn't say here.
Really? It's his own show. You would have thought.
Who knows? Maybe they felt that it was, too close.
Right, gauche. You can't write your own theme song. Nobody does
it's
that.
like what's his face? Kelsey Grammer and Frasier. He sings the song. Toss salad and scrambled eggs.
It was not. It was not written. Growing Pains theme song was written by lyricist John Bettis and composer Steve Dorff. The song was famously performed by B.J. Thomas with various versions featuring Jennifer Warnes or Dusty Springfield. Dusty Springfield?
Really?
Everything's was crazy.
What?
I mean, I want to hear the Dusty Springfield version.
I know.
Is the son of the preacher man included?
Yeah. That's that. We should have a karaoke theme song karaoke.
Legit. Or we should have a quiz thing where like you listen to like 3 notes of a theme song and like, can you name I think that would be good.
From the 80s?
It would require some planning, but we would
From the
definitely
80s,
do this.
you should just concede now because I would win that.
Oh,
now.
I would not.
I know.
Dana might give you a run for your money, Julie.
Right.
I gotta vouch.
I believe this.
Right.
I 100% believe this, Lawrence. 100%.
Yeah. Hey, Dana and I and Michelle, of course, if she wants to join, but Michelle was like, "You 80s people, I don't think so."
It's
But
not even. I just don't know.
I know.
I was a little baby.
I know, a little bebe. We want to do an 80s song show. Just go year by year what your favorite song was.
She
of that
told
year.
me that sounds amazing. You should
Yeah.
definitely do
Win?
that. Am I in? Absolutely. Yes. If I'm invited, I'm in.
I support all of you doing this.
Because I've got weird musical taste from the 80s, right? So like I'm gonna pick some weird shit from that time, just so you know.
Like what?
I mean, I
Like
was
what's
really
weird?
I loved all the artsy kind of cutting edge stuff, like Close to the Edit. Do you remember that song? I don't even remember the name of the band, and I should. But it was all like, I don't know, like Herbie Hancock stuff and
Hancock.
just all the, the things that nobody else, that like me and 5 other people in the 80s listened to. So like when I had to like cash in my compact discs at one point in the 90s when I was, short on money, I went in and they were like, you have the worst musical taste in the world.
Like where's the Bruce?
Do I
where's the
know,
Bruce
or is it
Springsteen
just
studio?
unique? Is it just
Yeah.
It's interesting because in the 80s, I was all into like 80s pop, 80s stuff. But then in the 90s is when I discovered classic rock. And so that's when I got into Zeppelin and The Who and Clapton and all this other stuff. So I
think we did it opposite.
Interesting. Yeah. So I feel like the 90s, I kind of like, I never got into grunge. I never got into the whole Seattle thing. Like I never liked Nirvana or Pearl Jam. To this day, I get that people love it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
In the 80s, people were like into Depeche Mode. And I like
Depeche Mode.
I love Depeche Mode, but there are 2 types of people. I love The Cure. There were 2 types of people in high school. I remember, Lawrence, tell me this happened in Florida. It certainly did in New Jersey. And Michelle, I think maybe this one you might be too young for, but maybe not.
Probably.
There were 2 types of people. The people who were into like The Cure and Depeche Mode, and they all, were into their emotions. And then the classic rock people / Grateful Dead people. And I was in the latter category. Like I was all into like I went to like Clapton. Like I think we all, well, I'm not going to say because my son's here, but
Eric Clapton, another disappointment.
Eric Clapton, what you guys?
What a cuckoo brains.
I have been to more Clapton shows in high school and college. I cannot
It's
even.
too bad.
And it's such a disappointment. He is a horrible human being, racist.
Yep.
Yeah. Horrible man.
Horrible man. Horrible man.
He's like, the Pink Floyd guy? Same thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
By the way,
Roger Waters.
Can I say this about Roger Waters? Can I just say this about Roger Waters? Because I love Pink Floyd, and my husband and I have this big disagreement because he thinks Pink Floyd sucks, and I think Dark Side of the Moon there are very few perfect albums.
Right. It's a perfect album.
It's the perfect album. There's not one thing wrong with that album. It is the perfect album.
And you've done Dark Side of the Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did that once.
Yes.
Seriously, that and a little bit of weed, mind-blowing experience.
I remember doing that with my friends and getting a little drunk and like turning them on
Julie's
at the same
son,
time
don't
and being
listen.
like,
I did it sober because I hate weed. Not because my son is here. Really, I just hate weed. So
we didn't smoke weed. We just had a little drinky drink.
Oh,
I mean, drinks or what, something that alters you slightly, and then
and then you turn them on. And you're like, whoa.
Dark Side of the Wizard of Oz is
the minute when the lion roars, the MGM lion roars, you drop the needle.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's so. I was like,
flawless.
I was very I didn't believe it until I saw it, and I was like, whoa, this is actually kind of crazy. This is nuts.
So here's the thing. And this goes back to, brings it all full circle. People may be unhappy. Rosie, you may be unhappy with what I'm about to say. When I wrote my Springsteen thing, people are like, why are you singling out Bruce Springsteen? Roger Waters has been fighting the justice fight for all these decades. Guys, I went to a Roger Waters concert. I went to go see Roger Waters perform Dark Side of the Moon. And let me tell you something. I'm all for being pro-Palestinian. I have no problem with your political views on it. That guy crosses the line anti-Semitism in ways that and I'm not one of those people who's like, if you criticize Israel, you're an anti-Semite. I criticize Israel all the time.
Yep.
I'm Jewish, so I'm not an anti-Semite, obviously. But I'm telling you right now, that guy will never get a penny of my money ever again because he is a anti-Semitic Jew hater. And
He's like a raging Jew hater.
a raging Jew hater. And so my attitude about Roger Waters is do not compare him to Bruce. He is
not even in the same playing field.
Not even the same playing field. And by the way, the other guys from Pink Floyd, now I know that they had a huge falling out with him, but they said the same thing, that he's a horrible anti-Semite Jew hater in private, and that's why they want nothing to do with him anymore.
Wow.
So
okay, slightly different topic. I mean, kind of back to 80s music though. Dr. Demento. Do you remember this, Julie?
who?
Dr. Demento. Okay, chat. Help me out.
Vaguely
Back me
familiar.
up.
Okay.
So in South Florida, the radio station Y100 played basically like metal and classic rock during the day, right? And then at night they would get a little bit edgy and they would start to play things like The Cure and the Smiths and whatnot. And then at midnight, I don't remember what night, like Fridays or Saturday nights, there was a show called The Dr. Demento Show. And it was a radio broadcast. It was like 2 or 3 hours long. I don't know. Yeah, somebody like help me out with, I'm sure Dr. Demento is no longer living.
Oh, wait. This was like a syndicated thing, so it wasn't just Florida. It was like just syndicated to whatever radio station in Florida you were listening to.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was he had, a syndication deal. He was on multiple radio stations across the country.
Like Delilah.
if you were a little bit wacky. Where was he?
I said it's like Delilah. You could hear Delilah everywhere.
Delilah died, I think, didn't she?
I think so. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, it was this amazing show where he would talk about like the wacky, ridiculous stuff, but then he would play the coolest fucking music that you could literally never hear anywhere else until years later.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. And then there were also like, he was a big Weird Al Yankovic proponent back at the beginning when Weird Al was just getting started. Like he'd play, yeah, exactly. He discovered Weird Al. That show.
Casey Kasem. Remember Casey Kasem?
Kasem, certainly
Absolutely.
Casey Kasem had a horrible end. Apparently, Casey Kasem had dementia or Alzheimer's, and I think his wife kept him in prison and like separated him from his kids. They couldn't like, have access to Casey Kasem.
What's wrong with people?
Not a for Casey Kasem. I know.
And then he was replaced by Rick D, right? Rick D's in the weekly top 40.
Yeah, but nobody. Casey Kasem also did the voice for Shaggy on Scooby. Or no, he did the voice for Scooby, didn't he?
I mean, that tracks.
No, he did the voice for Scooby or Shaggy.
Well,
I forgot.
I do have, I guess, something to contribute to the 80s music. Again, like I was born in the early 80s. I had a sister who was 7 years older than me. I was born in 1975. So very little. Of course, all you want to do is like be like your older sibling. So I listened to all her music and we listened to the weekly top 40 every weekend. And so, but I don't remember how many years ago this was, maybe 10 years ago. It was when Kinky Boots was about to open on Broadway, and a friend of mine, Dan Sherman, was in the cast. And his partner was a good friend of mine, and she had a couple kids, and I used to babysit them. And anyway, doesn't matter. He invited me to come see the show, and Kathy and the kids were there. And we were on stage afterward, and he was like, Mishi, because everybody calls me that. I don't know why. I've never called myself that. He was like, do you want to meet Cindy? And I was like, yes. And she comes walking down. This is after the show, like nobody's there. She's like walking down the aisle of the theater, and she's like, hello, how are you? And like I reached down and shake her hand. I was like, hi. I was like, Michelle, it's so nice to meet you. She goes, Michelle, it's so nice to meet you. She was exactly the way that you think that she is.
Right.
And I was like, we sat there and talked to her for a few minutes, and it was just like, I was like, I can't believe I'm standing here.
And let me say this. Madonna gets all the credit for like being like pro LGBTQ. It's Cyndi Lauper.
100%.
Sure.
Cyndi Lauper.
One hell of a singer. She
one hell of a singer, one hell of a songwriter.
Insanely talented.
Yep. And
True Colors is one of the most beautiful songs ever written.
Beautiful. I don't know if she wrote Time After Time, but also a beautiful song. And she, like, I know she's known for Girls Just Want to Have Fun, but like, forget it. Like, True Colors is an amazing.
Amazing. I sing it all the time. All the
Right.
time. There's
Um,
a video of
they're
me
like-
on my Instagram singing it if anybody wants to go find it.
There are
All
B
right.
tracks off of her albums that I loved. I mean, I can't remember the name of one right now, but she did a cover of, My Grandma and Your Grandma.
Yes,
sitting
I go
by the
on day.
fire.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Right? Like
mhm.
I liked all the weird shit off of
Yeah,
Yeah.
the B-sides.
right, the B-sides.
Yeah, like the Bette Midler B-sides, also good in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah, it was always the B-side of the singles. And it's funny because I was having a conversation with one of my very good friends who's married to into like a pretty, I don't know, well-known like Hollywood family. And we were talking about people we would not be able to handle if we met them. Like we would not be able to be okay. And hers was Cyndi Lauper. And I was like, oh, I had just met her and whatever. She's like, I can't. Like I'll lose my mind. I'll lose it. Like it's better off if we never meet.
Mine is Judy Blume.
Right. Well, mine at the time, please don't laugh. I was obsessed with Elijah Wood when I was a kid.
Really?
Obsessed. And you talk to a lot of millennials in my age group. Everybody was, because everybody went to go see this movie called The Adventures of Huck Finn. Everyone was obsessed with Elijah Wood. And like every movie he did, I saw it. And like, it's just, I can't. So that friend of mine, she's like, well, I just did a movie with him. Do you want to come to the premiere? And I was like, yes, I do. And it was this really gory film called Maniac. And it's about this serial killer. It's really awful. Like I sat like this, like the whole time. But she introduced me to him before the show, and I was just like sitting there, like trying to like be cool, and I'm like shaking. And then like literally afterwards, after the show, I was, we were all hanging out or whatever. And I was like digging through my bag, trying to like find, I don't know, a tampon or something. I don't know. And literally he's like behind me and he's like tapping my shoulder. He goes, Michelle, I just wanted to say goodbye. And I was like, I just completely lost my mind. But here's the thing. So in the Adventures of Huck Finn movie, there's like this little girl who kisses him at the end of the movie. And she's kind of like a little brat or whatever. And no one likes her. It's like Julie and the whatever that the Little House on the Prairie girl. Like nobody likes the girl that got to kiss Elijah Wood at the end of the movie. I go and I put it on. It was one of those movies in the background while I'm doing work, and all the credits come up. Julie, you know who that little girl was?
Who?
Laura Bell Bundy.
Shut up.
I was like, what?
You've just been sitting on the story since I've told you my Melissa Francis story. You've just
Yeah. So I immediately text her and I'll go, girl, you were in Adventures of Huck Finn? And she was like, yeah, oh my God, ha ha ha. And I was like,
oh my.
So it was like, I was convinced I was going to marry Elijah Wood. And she goes, oh my God, same, me too. She was like, I loved him. I was in love with him. And I was like,
okay, for people who don't know, because Michelle's very modest, Laura Bell Bundy, the ad that Michelle created, the best ad of not just the 2024 campaign, but I truly believe the best. And I do a lot of campaigns. So I when I say this, believe me when I tell you, I think the best ad I've ever seen, period.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Very, very, very powerful. Up there with the Daisy ad. Seriously, it's that powerful.
Yep.
Which only was played once, by the way. Was the ad that Michelle and Tara Setmayer did at the Seneca Project called American Girl. And it's, if you haven't seen it, you should, but just Google it. But the song American Girl was sung by and written by and sung by Laura Bell Bundy. That's what it is. And Laura Bell has become friends with Michelle. We all went to the Webbies together. She's beautiful and talented and brilliant and lovely. And just
she was the original Elle Woods in the Legally Blonde musical on Broadway.
Yeah. Oh my
she
God.
was the original what's her face in Hairspray on Broadway. Like she's amazing. She's amazing. And the fact, like putting that together, and I only put this together like 6 months ago. It was not long ago. I was like, what?
That is totally
believe it.
That's a story. That's hilarious.
Couldn't believe it.
I have a session with Judy Blume, which I've had since I was the president of the Judy Blume Club.
Judy Blume is Are You There, God? Are You There, God? It's me and Margaret, right?
All of them, including the adult books, which are very racy. obsessed with Judy Blume. Like when I tell you obsessed, to this day obsessed. Like she is my one celebrity who if I met her, I would go crazy. Everybody in my life has met Judy Blume because she's not a recluse. Like she's pretty easy to find if you want to find her. And I've just never, like somebody I know just hosted an event with her for like the ACLU or something. And for some reason, I found out about it a day late. She's like, oh, I didn't know, you should have just come to my house. We had Judy Blume. I'm like, what? My friend Gretchen Carlson was just in Palm Beach. And she sends me a picture with her and like all of her friends and Judy Blume. I'm like, why are you hanging out with Judy Blume? She's like, oh, we just went to her bookstore in Palm Beach and she was there. And I'm like, and I know Gretchen, not Palm Beach, sorry.
Palm Springs?
No, not Palm Springs. Oh, Key West. Sorry, Key West.
Oh.
She's like, she's there all the time. Just go to Key West and go to her bookstore. Like she's right there. I'm like, I don't even know what I would do. Like
it's almost better if you don't meet her. Like that's how I feel about some of these people.
Like I don't
know what I mean.
I don't. Well, apparently she's lovely, so it's not like I would be disappointed. But
right,
like I don't want to sound like a crazy stalker, and I don't want to be like, oh my God, you changed my life.
Right. She really hears this a lot, though.
Probably, but like I am. And she's getting older, like, you know.
I know.
Yeah, time to make your move, Julie.
This is what I'm saying.
TikTok.
I don't like. I honestly would fly to. I'm not a big fan of Key West, but I would actually fly to Key West just to have the opportunity to like meet her. And I don't know what I like. I truly don't know what I would do. Like what I would say. Like
write it down on a piece of paper and then walk in and recite it.
But just I want to like go up to her and just give her a hug and be like, you transformed my life. Like you were the single of any, not my parents, obviously.
I think you start with, I was a refugee from the Soviet Union and I moved to the United States and I read your books and they saved me during a very difficult time, which just happens to be true.
By the way, totally true. Totally.
Yeah, I think that's the story.
Because
the hook.
As somebody who had ostensibly nothing in common with the girls in her book because they were all,
very all-American.
Very all-American. Like I saw myself in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, the book Forever. Do you remember Forever? Does anybody remember Forever?
Absolutely. Of course. The way it got passed around in middle school. Oh, yeah.
Forever was a book where it's for teenagers. It's about this girl who falls in love with this boy and she loses her virginity to him, and it's in high school. And it's a beautiful book because there's no shame in sex, which I think was the first time you had a teenage book where like nobody was wagging their finger at you, being like, "Yep, how dare you have sex before you get married?"
Yeah.
And so it was just a beautiful book that actually set very unrealistic expectations of what your high school boyfriend was supposed to be like. And mine treated me like dirt. But despite that, like it was such like books like that just give you hope that like your stupid high school boyfriend was not, you know, there were.
It's like Nancy Meyers, right? It's like Nancy Meyers paints a picture of life for women, but with really understanding male partners who say the right thing and understand you and are like emotionally available. Like, you know what I mean? Judy Blume was writing that, but for teenagers. You know what I mean?
Daniel, exactly. It would be just like that. Remember that time when
do you remember that time?
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, promise you're gonna videotape yourself. Have your son or your husband videotape the moment where you're meeting Judy Blume for the first time, please.
Actually, the Judy Blume book, that was, and I have to reread it as an adult because I bet you it stands the test of time, was starring Sally G. Friedman as herself, which is the kind of an autobiographical book about Judy Blume's life, about her having to move to Miami Beach for a few years, from New Jersey right after World War II. It is like the seminal Jewish girl book. It is phenomenal. I got it for my son. He looked at it and put it away and never cracked it open, which breaks my heart because he's not a big reader. But you guys,
my niece, I bought her a copy of Anne of Green Gables, and she kind of did the same thing. She was just like, "Okay, Aunt Michelle," and I was like,
"I know,
you must read it."
I know. The two books, like Judy Blume and the Little House books. Oh God!
Did you see the movie?
Was Forever? Oh, sorry, Michelle.
Was Forever?
No, I was just going to ask if you guys had seen the Are You There, God? It's
yes,
Margaret.
very well done.
It was really good. It was really good. Sorry,
guys-
Lawrence, go ahead.
Blubber.
No, Forever was like the original banned book in my middle school when it came out. Was it like that? Is that how you experience it? Because for me,
No.
it was literally the book that like the girls who were at that moment in time absolutely far more advanced than the boys in our middle school. The girls were like passing it around, and like if they got caught with the book, the teacher would confiscate it and call their
really?
parents.
What?
Yeah, no, it was like a banned book.
Florida, man. That's what I'm telling you. I grew up in New York and New Jersey. Like, there was no banned books. I actually was such a voracious reader when I was younger.
Yeah.
I went through a D.H. Lawrence phase, and I read Lady Chatterley's Lover, which is, I know it's like supposed to be this like taboo banned book, but the reality is it's not that like whatever. I'm sure it was
Right.
racy in 1910, but it's nothing in there that would be considered racy to a 15-year-old reading it, in 1989 or whatever, how old I was. Anyway, I read the book and I decided I wanted to rent the movie. So I go over to the little, wasn't Blockbuster, but to the little local Princeton Meadows shopping center bookstore or whatever it was, not video store. And I'm like, can I rent Lady Chatterley's Lover? And the woman is like, I need a note from your mom about that. And I was like, it's not porn. Like, I just want to watch the movie. And they would not rent me the movie. And I was very disappointed. I came back with my mother, who of course was like, yeah, she didn't care. And yeah, so that's the
Did you
only
explain
time
that you had read the book.
you think the woman chewing gum behind the counter. Shit.
Right.
I think she'd never read the movie. She'd never watched the movie. I think it's just that Lady Chatterley's Lover, the title and the whole thing just seems so, Oh my God, V.C. Andrews.
Oh, V.C. Andrews.
Oh, Michelle, did you ever read Flowers in the Attic?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And then she also did Angel and Dark Angel. So she did a whole other series that was even better than the Flowers in the Attic series. But
oh my God. But
God, she was like
in the Attic.
She was a recluse. You know the whole deal with V.C. Andrews?
I don't.
She was, I think, paralyzed, and housebound, and totally a recluse, and just wrote these books. And I'm not even sure how she got them published, but she was, Michelle, you drop everything you're doing and go read Flowers in the Attic.
I
And
mean,
brace
I'd love
yourself,
to.
'cause
It
it's
sounds
weird.
great. Yeah, it sounds great. I hate to say I don't read, and it has nothing to do with not wanting to. It always has to do with the amount of time that I can't tell you the last time I started a book and finished it. I get like halfway through and I never finish it. And then just because there's a million things to do, and I can't even imagine having enough time to read a book. But I remember as a kid, I read books that were like YA, but I was just so much more of like a movie kid. It sounds like kind of mentally lazy, but I don't think it was.
They did make a movie or a show of Flowers in the Attic.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
They
They did a movie on it with Steve Martin's ex-wife. It wasn't good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because
basically
anytime I dog sat my neighbor's dog or anything, if I got $20, I went down to the mall and would buy a movie. So I stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of movies as a kid. But I always say, whatever you do as a kid and you love, Julie, you and Lawrence, you both read so much as kids, and now you're great writers, and you're contributing with your writing, and I'm contributing with videos.
you're contributing incredible art, honestly, with what you
Really?
The videos. I guess that's my point. It's just we regurgitate that kind of as adults, but
Yeah, I was an insatiable reader too, Julie. Like literally, like the encyclopedia, the back of the cereal box,
me
the
too.
Time magazine,
yeah.
It was
everything.
such an escape. And Lawrence, it was such an escape. I'm sure for you too, right? I'm sure did not have easy growing up. It was such an escape for me to just get out of my own reality, because I had a pretty tough childhood. And it was just that's what I mean. I kind of started, I don't want to get all maudlin, but the whole Little House on the Prairie thing, I didn't want to go to Hollywood to go to Hollywood. I wanted to go to Hollywood to get out of the Bronx.
Mm.
Right.
it looked very pretty on the prairie. It did not
Right.
it did not look like Unionport Road in the Bronx.
Right. Right.
There were places to run around and grass and pretty dresses that you got to wear. And Flowers in the Attic, I believe, and people of my age will tell me if you agree. I think Flowers in the Attic is the reason Gen X is so messed up. Because just to sum up for you, Flowers in the Attic was the premise of I'm not giving anything away, was about these twins and their younger siblings who were living a happy life with their mom and dad somewhere. And then the dad dies. And then the mom goes back to her family in Virginia, who are very, very, very rich. But the mom can't tell her parents that her children exist. So she tells them, just go wait in the attic while I tell your grandparents that you exist. But she never does. And they're locked up in the attic for years until they finally escape. And the reason is because the parents were brother and sister and were incestuous and had the kids.
What?
And then the kids become incestuous.
Right.
Why does anyone want to read this?
Oh my God.
It's awful.
You know what?
Good.
It just popped into my mind, Julie.
Oh, so good. It's all about incest. It's all about gothic. Like, oh God, it's
so gothic. It's so yeah. And
I don't want to read
the
that.
little kids get sick and they have to survive by drinking the blood of the big brother. Like,
no, that's
do you remember
hard.
that part?
Yes, and they get poisoned with arsenic on the donuts to this day. If I ever to this day, I am 3 years old. To this day, when I see powdered white donuts, I think twice. I'm like, this
no. The books that I was bringing into like 5th, 6th, 7th were like John Grisham. Like I just can't imagine. Like,
I don't know. This is I'm not describing it properly. It's so good.
It sounds horrendous.
It's so
want
good.
no part of that.
But it's good horrendous. Like you must read it because
know.
Julie, I think you're right. It literally warped all of our brains in exactly the same way.
So good. It's got incest.
Sounds
it's got arsenic. It's got crazy family. It's got all of it. And I don't know why it's so good, but it's so good.
I just don't want to feel like that when I'm and Brian here in the chat says read The Handmaid's Tale if you haven't already, which I have, and obviously I've watched the show forwards and backwards 4 times. If you are not watching The Testaments, which is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, get on it. It is so good. It is way better than I could have ever expected it to be. It is outstanding. It is like, I don't know, 10 plus years into the future, with like the daughters of some of the handmaids and like what's going on. And this is the sequel of which there was a book written also that Margaret Atwood wrote with Bruce Miller, who was the showrunner for Handmaid's Tale. Created this book, Test, which now the show is on. I know that I think there's a little bit of differences, but for the most part, all the same and just incredible. June is back in it. It's so good. It's so good. Everyone should go watch it. It's Hulu and it's Disney Plus. And also, I just want to say, speaking of things that we read as kids, and I had texted Julie about this yesterday, Lawrence. I don't know if you saw the story. There's a really cool story, and I have screenshots here in a second. About the Iliad, and I did read the Iliad as a kid only because
Michelle's in 4th grade. I'm like, what?
Yeah, because I did Odyssey of the Mind. I don't know if anybody knows Odyssey of the Mind, which is like this like competition thing that kids do, and there's like a long form problem and then a short-term problem. And the long form problem, you could do anything from like physics to like engineering, like all different things like that. But then there was a performance element too, and you could write a play, and you had to at the time take something from the Iliad and then put it, there'd be a theme or something, and you would have to write a play. One of them we did about betrayal and the Iliad and Agamemnon or something. And then to Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. Like we wrote a play about Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, and we had a time machine and we made it. My friend's dad owned a lumber supply company. So we had like giant boxes and stuff that we could use. And I mean, it was very, very inventive stuff, but you had to save all your receipts. So you couldn't like spend too much money. So like rich kids couldn't like buy their way into the whole thing. Anyways, yeah, it was really cool. I did it. And that's why I read the Iliad as a very young kid. That being said, New York Times yesterday, archaeologists find Egyptian mummy buried with the Iliad.
So cool.
For the deceased of Roman era Egypt, Greek literature may have offered a cheat code to a more comfortable afterlife. So it says here. Sorry, go ahead, Julie.
It's Roman era Egypt. I thought it was pre-Roman era Egypt. They said it's Roman era Egypt.
That's what it says. Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes more sense because the Ptolemies, who the Romans replaced, were all Egyptian. Cleopatra was Greek. Was 100% Greek.
Well, it says here the archaeologists working in Egypt have discovered a remarkable combination of Homeric, epic, and Egyptian ritual, a 2,000-year-old mummy with a papyrus fragment of the Iliad sealed in a clay packet outside its wrappings. It is the first time a literary work has been found playing a functional spiritual role in the mummification process, and it suggests that for Roman era Egyptian, the Iliad, specifically some lines from Book 2's catalog of ships, I don't have my glasses on, was perhaps as crucial for navigating the afterlife as a magic spell. But just so people can see it, like those are the fragments that they found.
They found it in the dumps. There's apparently a huge dump site somewhere in Upper Egypt, I think, like where archaeologists have been having a field day because apparently it's just all this. By the way, has anybody here ever been to Egypt?
Mm-mm.
Not yet.
Okay. I've been to a lot of places. The coolest place I've ever been. Unbelievable. Start to finish, every part of it.
I believe it.
When I tell you incredible, like just go. It is amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
They have the best preservation of their antiquities I have ever seen because it was buried under sand for thousands of years. So
no moisture or anything. Yeah.
You know that Abu Simbel, that huge temple with those two pharaohs sitting on top of it?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. This is my impression of Abu Simbel. Those two pharaohs. Like on a runway. But that was excavated by Napoleon's troops. It had been buried under sand for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So they have preserved their stuff so well. Forget the pyramids because that's not even the coolest part of it. Like you have to go further south to go see the really cool stuff. But it is so amazing. And then you go to Greece, and Greece has done jack shit. Also, British looted the Elgin Market.
Yeah, I mean, they had a different situation. Yeah. And this was like a non-royal. I think that's the other cool part about this. This is like a non-royal male that was dug up. And so, I don't really know too much about, the history beyond just kind of what I learned in school, but I just thought this was like mega, mega interesting. Very cool. Something, you talk about going to Egypt. I know there's a museum in London that has a lot of Egyptian stuff.
British Museum. They have
right. And then in the Met here in New York, they have an exhibit as well, which is pretty cool.
Gosh, that whole sea.
Yeah, Poppycosh. Yeah, from when Harry met Sally.
MJ Daniel, I own that book. The Bible of History is history. It is unbelievable. I highly recommend everybody read it. It is so, so good. It really does take everything. And if you've ever been to, Israel and you've seen all the stuff where all the biblical stuff is supposed to take place, it pretty much adds up. I mean, I'm not saying the God part of it because talking about like in the New Testament where, Jesus's entry into Jerusalem, all of that, it's still pretty much preserved as it was. It's really cool. And I was there, I want to say, I've been there a lot, but I was there 2018 happened to be on Palm Sunday. We were there for my son's spring breaks on Palm Sunday, and we watched the pilgrims gathering at the foot of the Mount of Olives. So their procession with the palms into the city of Jerusalem, into what the old city of Jerusalem was on Mount Moriah, which is where the Temple Mount is, / the Dome of the Rock. And it is exactly as you read in the New Testament, where they're gathered near the Garden of Gethsemane and they're with their palms walking into the procession, exactly as Jesus processed into Jerusalem on his donkey. And it is amazing to have. If you ever read the Bible, which I'm not a believer, but I have read it because I think it's fascinating and everybody should, how it lines up to the geography of what they're talking about, because the geography has not changed at all in 2,000 years. It's fascinating. So good. Same thing. If you go to Alexandria in Egypt, and Alexandria was like the seat of intellectual power during Cleopatra's time. And the Library of Alexandria, when it burned down around 300 AD,
we lost.
The things
I know.
never get
Right,
back.
all the library, like the books and everything,
Of
right?
course,
I mean,
right.
so much, yeah.
But to look at the harbor in Alexandria, which was such a famous harbor, it's not the same anymore. It's much
Dredged it
smaller.
and changed it.
Yeah.
But still, despite that, it's shaped the same way, and you can see, you can kind of visualize all of the stuff, and it's insane. It's just like that whole thing. Like, I love it. Like, I love seeing stuff like this. Nothing gets me happier than seeing, except for Judy Blume, than stuff like this. I love.
There's a
Did you
great
see-
oh, sorry.
Well,
No, I was just gonna sorry, I think there's a delay. I was just gonna say, on Netflix, there's a couple like short docuseries about that are like kind of acted out with actors and stuff, and which I guess is what we have to do now to get people to pay attention. But one about Cleopatra, and one about Alexandria. And I don't know.
Netflix?
I think so. Yeah. I'm sure that you're going to find historical inaccuracies, Julie. So maybe this isn't for you, but but overall though, I found them really, really interesting and I learned a lot. So just throwing that out there if people are interested.
Kevin, I did not know there's a Roman Colosseum underneath the Guildhall. Really? I'm gonna have to go check that out in London next time I'm there.
And also Teresa asked if you'd be able to follow the Testaments if you have a Handmaid's Tale. Probably not. It wouldn't. Yeah, probably not. You could watch it, but you wouldn't know what's going on in the universe that's you're watching.
Don't tempt me with a good time. If anybody here wants to start a Judy Blume book club, I am.
Julie, did you see that they found a gigantic 70-ton curved block in the harbor of Alexandria that they think is a piece of the lighthouse of Alexandria?
Really?
Yes.
When?
Within the last couple of weeks. I kind of saw the news. Yeah.
Oh.
So for those that don't know, the lighthouse of Alexandria was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And we know that it existed, but we kind of don't know a lot of the details. But yeah, they think they have found a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah, I'm seeing this here. It says it looks like ruins under the Mediterranean, but archaeologists found 22 massive pieces of a lighthouse lost for more than 1,600 years. That's what it says here. Yeah.
Do you know
the operation is part of the Pharos program and digitally effort to study, scan, and digitally reconstruct the vanished monument that once helped ships enter Alexandria's harbor. Very cool.
Wow. You know what I want them to try to excavate? The Colossus of Rhodes, if that's even there anymore, which is, it used to be, so Rhodes in Greece also used to have a huge harbor. I've never been there, so I don't know if they still do. I'm sure they do, but it was one of the ancient marvels of the ancient world, a huge colossus, a man who, if you watched Game of Thrones, they kind of recreated this on Game of Thrones. Yeah, but it would one leg on either side of the harbor, and it's this huge colossus that ships would sail through the legs, and it's supposed to have been just this incredible wonder of the world.
That idea from Game of Thrones and J.R.R. Tolkien, it was real. We had, it existed.
It existed, and you think about the stuff that we lost, that we'll never get back, whether it's the library at Alexandria or the Colossus.
Yeah.
Any of these things.
When I learned about that library burning down, I was like, oh, wow. Like, we lost everything. Everything.
And that's why amen. I don't know jack shit. Why people much smarter than me believe we went through the dark ages.
Right.
Create everything.
Yeah.
There was an interesting theory I read at some point that they think that it was intentionally set on fire because it was such a I don't know, like a center of power, right? Because it was so sort of defining as being a
Tale as
center of
old as
knowledge and
time.
power that
Yeah.
it was burned down by MAGA people. They found red
Right.
hats actually on the people. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was like,
I'm,
what?
I started
That
riffing.
was
The
really
first part is
good.
true. They think it was burned down on purpose. The second part about there being red hats, that was
Wait, but what was
riffing.
burned down on purpose?
The Library of Alexandria.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Because, well, think about what's happening now, right? Charlie
Right.
Kirk, all the, JD Vance, don't go to college, because if you have smart people, you can't manipulate and control smart people.
And Rosie.
And
Yeah.
what's that?
Sorry, Rosie. Yes, Scylla and Charybdis. That's if you read the Odyssey, between a rock and a hard place. That's from the. Well, first of all, it's also from a great Police song. You consider me a young apprentice. Anyway, wrapped around your finger.
A great song, absolutely.
Great song. Yes, it is from the Odyssey. It is where Odysseus. One of the things that Odysseus had to travel through. It is between Calabria and Sicily, and it was, and I think still to this day, is a pretty dangerous place for ships to go through.
Right.
But Scylla and Charybdis were a rock, and you run into a hard place. Yeah, a whirlpool, and that's where the phrase "rock and a hard place" comes from the Odyssey, bringing it all back to Michelle's thing about the Iliad and Homer.
Well, and I saw the Calabria. It's so funny. My next door neighbor has a cottage in Calabria, and she goes every year. She and her husband, and it's like this family cottage. It's been in her family for like 100 years or something. And was showing me pictures, and it was like, it looks absolutely beautiful. But the last thing I think that we should do is go snorkeling, guys, at Pearl Harbor. I think that that's where we really need to be doing. Because guys, if you haven't seen this story, our FBI director, our drunken, shameful, idiotic FBI director, Kash Patel, went on a trip to Hawaii and did a VIP snorkel at the Pearl Harbor Memorial.
As one does.
As one does. So this happened last summer.
Buried.
Yeah, right. This happened last summer, and it says that the FBI took pains to note the director was not on vacation. Sure. Highlighting his walking tour of the Bureau's Honolulu field office and meetings with local law enforcement. This is left out of the FBI's news releases was an exclusive excursion that Patel took days later when he participated in what government officials described as a VIP snorkel around the USS Arizona in an outing coordinated by the military. The sunken battleship entombs more than 900 sailors and Marines at Pearl Harbor. This is the final resting place for the first American deaths in World War II. Are you kidding me?
So have you guys ever been, I know I already asked you this, Michelle. Lawrence, have you ever been to Pearl Harbor?
I have, yeah. And to the Arizona tour.
Arizona. Yeah. So you probably remember it is such a living, breathing place that there are still oil bubbles coming up in Arizona.
Yep.
Because there's still oil coming through. So first of all, I hope he swam in a ton of oil and got oil slicks all over himself that he'll never be able to get out of his lungs.
Yeah.
But second, there's no FBI field office near the USS Arizona. It's probably in Honolulu. It's not at Pearl Harbor. Give me a break.
Honolulu and Pearl Harbor, not next to like there's a drive. If you're in the FBI field office in Honolulu and you're going to Pearl Harbor, it's not like you were just happened to be there. You had to plan to do it.
It is
and of all the places in Hawaii to go,
right?
That's the place.
Because he couldn't, because you can't do it, and he's like a little kid. If you can't do it, he wants to use his power.
I'm going to be special. Yeah, I'm
special.
Right.
Like you can go snorkeling in Hawaii, I am sure, in any number of beautiful places.
Everywhere.
But I'm going to do it in a place nobody else can do it because I'm the FBI director. This guy,
I'm the FBI director, and I'm going to shotgun a beer with the USA men's hockey team, and I'm the FBI director, and I'm going to make special personalized bottles of bourbon that say FBI director Kash Patel on it. And I'm the FBI director, so I'm going to use government taxpayer funded planes to to fly my stupid girlfriend around and her friends and provide security for her. That, by the way, while you are paying $7 a gallon for your gas,
Yep.
and you are, and there are Americans that are literally in bread lines now, and the
Yep.
lines are getting longer and longer and longer. I saw a report out of Los Angeles that people are lining up in record numbers for food. We have this FBI director and the rest of this shit show of an administration doing dumb stuff like this that is not only wrong and horrible and wasteful and just immoral. I would like to remind people that disrespecting the military is not a new thing when it comes to the Republican Party. They love to oorah, star-spangled awesome literally all the time and talk about we support the troops and we do this. No, they don't. This has been going on for a very, very long time. It started with what the Republican Party did to Max Cleland, a triple amputee from Vietnam. They normalized his service and patriotism and took this man down and sent him on a spiral that led to, I mean, one could argue, an earlier death than should have happened.
Yep.
And it started there, and it goes to Pete Hegseth. It goes to and Mark Kelly, from Donald Trump to John McCain to Kash Patel snorkeling at the USS Arizona.
You know, Michelle, I have a good friend, and I don't know if she'd be willing to do this, and I probably should not be talking about it publicly until I asked her, but I have a very good friend who was Max Cleland's companion for many years before he died. I'm wondering if she would be willing to come and do a whole separate show talking about what them taking down Max Cleland did to Max Cleland, to a man who's a paraplegic, who lost everything because of the war, where they later accused him of basically being a coward. Like, dearly, because we think
questioned his patriotism because he didn't vote 100% in favor of like funding or after 9/11, essentially.
Yeah, I would love to see if she, I don't know whether she would. She's had her own share of tragedy lately.
Of
so
course.
I don't want
I would watch
but
that.
this, I mean, and this is where I'm not saying it started here, but I think that this was kind of the beginning of normalizing, going after or just disrespecting members of our military and using them as props only when it is convenient. And, there was an outcry when all of this happened from both sides of the aisle, but what happened, and he was ousted from his seat.
Right.
He lost.
Yeah. Lee Atwater, the whole,
Yes.
the politics of just absolute nastiness.
Yes,
I
Lawrence,
really
1000%.
think, Michelle, you and Julie and, Cliff Schechter and a bunch of other people that we know, I really think there should be a show. There should be something that you all do that really digs into how did we get here? How did we get to this moment in time? Because so much of it is about the decisions that got made on campaigns to punish and to demonize.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But that was my son banging. I want to be very clear because I'm going to embarrass him now. That was my son banging a piece of furniture because I told him to brush his teeth and he wouldn't. And I said, I'm not going anywhere until you do it. And that was him banging.
And now we can hear him stomping up the stairs.
Now he's stomping away. I just embarrassed him publicly. The reason I did that was because, now he slammed his door.
Yeah, well,
that's what having a
live and learn, kiddo. Live and learn. I'm going to have to give him a little call later. Have a chat.
I got to tell you, Michelle, before we go quickly, I ordered a desk for an office that I'm trying to set up. It turned out to be a total scam on Etsy. And it was from an Indian shop that just shut down, took my money and never.
Oh, boo.
Luckily, thank you, Etsy immediately refunded my money, but now I need
They're good like that. Yeah.
Now I need a new desk. So I was going on Etsy to look for new desks. I want to support small businesses, not the scammy kind, but the real kind. My son is looking at this and he goes, Michelle could do that herself in 2 seconds. Why are you paying somebody on Etsy to do this? Every single beautiful restored antique desk, Michelle. He's like, Michelle could do that.
I love your kiddo.
Aww.
Loves Michelle. He loves Michelle so much.
I love him. He's such a good kid, and he struggles to listen, but he's of that age.
Toothbrushing aside.
Yeah, and it'll we'll get there, but no, like heart of gold, the little kid. Whose name I won't say.
Do your Latin studying child. Yeah.
But
we're done with Latin.
Yeah. Well, like, and listen, I know we need to go here because it's, it's time to go, but I really am serious. And Lawrence, I think that's a good idea to talk about how we got here. And I think that Lee Atwater and Roger Ailes and like,
Yep.
I mean, Roger Ailes, I'm not even talking about Fox News Roger Ailes. I'm talking about like Roger Ailes Nixon.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
from Nixon's dirty
Right.
tricks to Lee Atwater to what
Yep.
happened to Max Cleland. I mean, like there is a ripple and domino effect of what the Overton window was moved and what was normalized, what became acceptable in campaigning in this country to win at any cost.
Yes.
And that cost has been the soul of this nation.
Right. The death of
cost
American
has-
democracy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been the death of American democracy. The cost is what has happened to American veterans from people who did this, who've never served a day in their lives.
All right,
You
chat,
know?
back me up here. If you'd be interested in hearing Julian and Michelle and like Cliff Schechter, who's a political consultant, David Schuster, who was also a broadcaster on MSNBC, talking about like the death of American democracy by the, campaign
Campaigns and ads.
trickery and the perversion of the media. I think you could do a paid series on that. And
well, I don't know about paid, but I will ask my friend. I have no idea whether she be willing, but if she is willing, I am very happy to have her on because I did not know Max Cleland. I've met him, but I didn't know him. She spent his last years with him. And
if you guys know Marcus Flowers, who ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene, he's a wonderful person. I love Marcus Flowers. He is incredibly kind-hearted and generous, and a veteran, and a great American. Max Cleland was the first person to endorse him when he ran for Congress.
Yeah,
and we've talked at length about all of this, and people don't forget.
Yeah,
and it's part of the story that has led us here.
Okay, friends, I've got to go make sure my teenager brushes his teeth so I can go take him to play squash.
Can I plug one thing before we go?
Please.
Anything you want, always.
So I just published an article on Blue Ant Media called Running with the Devil. It is about my experience sort of being at the leading edge, being laid off because of the impacts of AI, and then also using AI to build a website that sort of proves my case that we should be really, really, really afraid of what is coming with AI, and that we are not ready. And politically, we are absolutely up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. So I'd love it if people could go check it out.
I just dropped that in the chat on YouTube.
I would love to do a whole separate show with you on this because
I'd love it.
I am in my nonprofit capacity rolling out a really exciting AI tool in the next few days, which I am not at liberty to talk about right now, but I will be by this time next week.
Amazing.
Which is a good use of AI, precisely because there are so many bad uses of AI. So I would love to talk to somebody who worked in tech like you, so we actually keep people informed. I think it's really important. AI is super, super, super important, you guys.
And can I just want to just add one thing to that. There are a lot of people online, people who are trusted, and this is where culture and politics and policy and all these things are downwind from each other. There are people who are trusted, who are trying to tell you that you need to give all of your information to AI and that you need to just get on board or you're going to get left behind. If you hear someone saying you need to get on board with AI or you're going to get left behind, look and see if that person stands to benefit from you jumping on the bandwagon. And I'm looking at you, Reese Witherspoon. I'm looking at you, Mel Robbins. A lot of these people are telling their followers to give their financial information over to AI platforms.
Insane.
Do not do it. Don't do it.
A great article op-ed in the New York Times yesterday on this very subject, called The Death of the Girl Boss, specifically about what Michelle just said. I don't even know if you read it, Michelle. Probably not.
Saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
So absolutely, Michelle, you're so right. Lawrence would love to do a whole separate
that would be great.
Thanks.
on that, because I think it's so important. All right. On that note, thank you for listening to our Springsteen stuff and our Tony Danza stuff and our Judy Blume stuff and our Alexandria Lighthouse stuff and our Iliad stuff. And most importantly, thank you to Michelle and Lawrence for being just the best. And Lawrence, you have this show. We are so happy to have you and Dana on here on Saturdays with us now. We love having
you.
It's the highlight of my week, honestly.
Same.
The weeks that I can't do it, I cry, like seriously, you two are just the best, and it's so much fun, and it's such a breath of fresh air every week.
Right
so
back
thank
at
you.
you.
Right
Right
back
back at you. Honestly, like this, I was texting Julie last night and this morning and like, all the bad news and all the stuff that's going, I was, and sometimes and I haven't been feeling great this week and I just physically, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it through 2 hours this morning. And then once I'm like, you know what, the easiest place to be because it's fun and it's happy and it's endorphins in a way. And it's like all of those things. So,
Yes.
the sanity isn't always, doesn't always come by happiness or joy. Sometimes it comes from catharsis or venting and like other things like that. And I think that this is a safe space here to do all of those things. So Lawrence, thank you as
Thank
always for being here, and Dana, and you're just both like good souls, and we're just so
Thanks.
grateful to have you here.
Dana's not with us today is because she's having a little weekend. She's had a
She's
tough week.
hiking with goats, like
Yeah.
her best girlfriends and her daughters and her goats. So she's in a very beautiful place, Whidbey Island. Yeah.
Oh, with the island. Yeah. Okay. On that note, friends, we will see you here next week. Lawrence, you're back here next week, right? With us, hopefully.
I am not. I am in Chicago next week,
Ooh.
and
Okay.
International Men of Leather is happening in Chicago next weekend, and I'm going to have stories that I will not
That
be
is
able to tell
fun.
you because
Actually,
they
you
will
know
be
what? I
triple
think
X rated.
My husband, I
you
think,
know
is
what?
going to be in Chicago next weekend too. Not for that, but he's going to be in Chicago also.
Or is he?
Things we don't know.
What, Lawrence? We expect the entire download the following week. Then
Yep.
you are definitely going to be able to tell us, even though it's X-rated. We'll have
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you about all the people that I saw who shouldn't have been there, and yeah, exactly.
Members of Congress. Yeah.
wide stance.
Right.
Okay. All
Tony
right.
Danza.
Tony Danza. No, Tony Danza will be walking down Columbus Avenue screaming at the top of his lungs about how he's
I got 10 shows.
I got 10 shows. I got 10 shows up. Okay. Everybody, so good to see you. Lawrence, have the most amazing time at the International Men of Leather
Thank you.
Symposium.
Right. It's a conference. Yeah.
Conference, right, in Chicago. And we'll see everybody back here next week. Michelle and I will see you well before that in the next couple of days. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.